lost the franchise. No.
Hmm. Quick arm and I guess deadlift set. Nothing too fancy. Got to watch some golf this weekend. Saw some of my favorite players. Actually, a lot of my favorite swings out there. I think Matsuyama actually won. I was only there Thursday and Friday, but according to YouTube, they had a little playoff at the end. It got real close, but I think Matsuyama actually won that. Good job. Always like when people who I like actually win. Yeah, I'm kind of been cool if Fleetwood was in it, but I don't know. I think he probably played somewhere else. 'Cause they got a lot of tournaments going on sometimes at the same time. Think I'm gonna go ahead and sign up for that Bahama Classic probably as a volunteer. See how that works. Maybe a pro-am or something. If these people at the labor board would answer their phones instead of running away from giving me my money, I might be able to actually afford that pro-am tournament. Anyway, let me get this cranked up right quick and then charge up my headphones so I can probably get some sleep before the bang-a-langin' starts. Well, you know it's going to be a broadcast, so let me get this done right quick. I haven't opened up my chest for a while now. Feels like at least a month or two. Nice little stretch. Alright, just some quick curls. Or should I do the deads first? I'll get the back first. You see some little nicks and tears and stuff inside some of these bands. Looks like I'm probably gonna have to replace one or two of them soon. Maybe that'll be my Christmas present to myself. New set of exercise bands. Been practicing making quesadillas and burritos the last month or so. Sometimes not so bad, sometimes pretty good. Two of my favorite dishes. Surprisingly simple to make. Good for workouts, building. Solid chicken, cheese, throw in some green peppers. Today I threw in some of the, what we call, I guess, goat peppers. Seasoned with a little bit of, I guess, other people call it habanero. Usual garlic and seasoned salt, taco seasoning. I didn't have beans though. Probably should have thrown in some beans. Then I'll probably do a burrito or something like that tomorrow. But at least I got the rice done. If I find some more beans, I think I got a couple more left. Probably put them to soak. Real tricky with these beans. Sometimes they act like they don't want to cook. But, well, still tastes good to me with or without the beans. Whether I eat it as a dish, rice and chicken and beans, or throw it on the tortilla. Make a burrito. Feeling a little Cuban foodish. You know, I had that Pollo Tropical around the corner from me in Orlando. As much as I like it, I think I might have only ate there maybe, I don't know if I ate there maybe more than 2 or 3 times the whole time. That's a lot. It's surrounded by all my favorite food places. I guess it took a while, but I did get there. Okay, standing curls or in the bed curls. Been on my feet quite a lot last few days. Not heavy tonight, just a little pump. I was thinking about doing one of them little quick tidbit sermons I actually like to throw into my workouts and other videos and stuff like that. It came into my mind a little bit earlier, but thinking back on it, I think I spoke on that a couple of times already. I know it's Sunday and all. Being raised Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist Christian, we feel Saturday is the actual Sabbath. And some people always go into this thing about Sunday worship and end times, talking about people will be forced to worship on Sundays. And then I always thought, well, not always, got to thinking, I know the right way. And thinking, the Muslim people, I always said they worship or pray every day, a couple times a day. I mean, every day of the week. And then we learned in history class back in the day, I remember learning when they switched up the calendar, when they actually had a calendar, I guess, originally around that time, there was only 10 months in the calendar. And then they added like another 2. And I'm not sure exactly if they had all the days, like how they have some of the months have different, amounts of days in them, if that was all the same. So whenever it was decided originally by God what the Sabbath day was, remember when that flood hit, the only people that was possibly still knowledgeable about that particular day was on that boat, that Noah's Ark. And the truth over time, you know how people go with messages and stuff like that. God really got to be in you to make sure the truth really gets the way, to who it needs to get to in the way it actually needs to get to them. As people will forget and twist and add a word here and there sometimes. And by the time the message gets to where it would have liked to have been, it's different. Sometimes totally different. Anyway, I get the feeling, like I said, I feel Muslims who, I guess, been around from supposedly way before Christianity. Remember, that's this only like, what, 2025 now? And Jesus was technically, I guess you could say, he was, what, born in 0, 1, something like that, 0. When they actually switched I guess, the calendar days or timing or whatever. They don't want to probably miss out on whichever day is the actual Sabbath day, probably from just years of maybe generations of people possibly not knowing or remembering the actual day. I don't fault them for that. Thing is, they worship, I guess, only God, not particularly Jesus. They recognize Jesus, supposedly, according to what I've been hearing, but they worship only God. Personally, I don't fault them for that either, but the ones around nowadays still have to do it, the right way, the way God says to do it now. Other folks, Sunday Christians, we call them. I know the Bible says sheep from other flocks and stuff like that. I'm not going to say what is the day, but what we believe is today, that's at the end of the day going to be between you and God, because He always saying that He always around when He made the first original 7 days on earth. So He's probably not going to hold everybody as hard to that, but whatever day it is, I guess you feel or believe it is, then make sure you believe that's your day and keep it holy. Yeah, you might do a lot of the same things you do throughout the week. As for example, you might, someone like me, maybe pray daily, sometimes more than daily. Not considering it a Muslim thing, but just as a habit, you want to walk as close with God as you could. Get that guidance, so you don't get that misguidance. But there's certain things about the Sabbath that has to be, I guess, the way it's supposed to be. Day of rest, no labor, no one in your house should do any work. People be forgetting and not really be showing what the house is. So for those of us that have been having trouble with a few of those things, you in a house where people don't necessarily respect the Sabbath, and God kind of pulls you away from them houses, so you don't have to technically go by those rules or quote unquote feel like you always have to make a decision. God make the decision for some of us. Sometimes He do it multiple times if you see you having trouble, like that Moses let my people go kind of thing. Yeah, it's real. Definitely is real. Like how that song definitely is real. what I really wanted to touch on, what popped into my head. I'm a Revelations fanatic. That's possibly one of my favorite, books of the Bible about what is to happen. You watch the movies and stuff like that, and the grand finale is like a lot of the times at the end of it. That's kind of like the grand finale for me. A lot of the exciting stories and battles and stuff like that. That's where they are. It's cool reading about with all the people of God and stuff too, but when the superheroes reach, that's the cool part. I've always been one of them superhero kind of, fans like that. The angels get to doing their thing. God's people start, you know, doing the God thing. People getting ready, going all out, whatever it takes. Survival of the fittest. All the things we used to hear about as a child, but not really sure where it came from, what it was about, what they was meaning. Seeming to make sense now more and more and more in these days. It was not a drill. Minotaur. That's what I wanted to touch on. Toro, bull, supposedly. Comes to mind. The big or little red dude with the horns, that would be the actual, what they would refer to as the bull. And the little Baphlet's, the one who he gave his power to, Baphomet, Minotaur, little half bullish looking creatures, or creaturelets. I guess now I know why some people like those kind of adventure kind of movies. Everything created by God. And you reach who we need to reach, how we need to reach them. Not everybody can read, so we got to put some stuff, I guess, maybe not have to, but he has put some things for people to watch and learn instead of being able to read. A lot of the movies that used to have them little creatures and critters and stuff like that around, Minotaur, come to think about it, what if that's who those people actually are? Wow. Wow. No, I said I was going to go light, but yeah, I'll just wrap out with this. All right, all done. Mickey and Minnie. You don't know anybody around here with the name sounding like Min, Minnie, Min? I know there's some Mins around here. And I know there's some Minuses, some Minuses. Any other mins? Oh yeah, there's the guy on tour I like to watch now when he actually does show up. Min Woo Lee. He only look like the ones who have people who I know around there who have that kind of name though. Just really don't. Anyway, that's my workout done for today. Things work out good. Get me some sleep tonight. I probably might find somewhere to actually throw some bench press in. I got to go to that post office again. So if I got to spend 20 something dollars to catch me a workout at the closest gym to me, budget wise, that ain't something I'm doing all the time. Although my workouts really tend to only really require 1 day a week, still ain't in the budget or hasn't been. There it is. What's it been now? No haircuts in 11 years. I forgot about y'all. Crunch out.